everybody, and welcome back to the Dungeon of the Mad Mage. There's some spooky dudes. So both 8 and Macaria are spotted as they come around the corner.
As soon as I notice that anyone is spotted, I'm gonna take the lead on this one. I think.
Okay, yeah. So you just like step forward, like
so he looks like
this guy looks over, like, what's going on here? And he sees he's about to alert, but you can say something.
We're just passing through. No issue with you or your people.
And he says behind him, he's like, "My coterie, to me, we have guests." And then you hear some shuffling, and some of the other kind of like guys come around the corner. So as they
passing through ever worked
yes.
for anyone.
Yes.
As they convene, let me describe the others. So there is a woman dressed similarly to the man in this kind of like lace like gown, but she has her sleeves rolled up and she has carrion crawler like guts all over her hands. But she also has like a big like hairdo, and there's like a little pin in it shaped like a bat. And then the other two, one of them is shirtless, but he has a leather vest on, that you think was a leather jacket at some point with the sleeves cut off. And it's got a bunch of like pins stuck in it. And then, there is another woman, who has kind of like, she has like leather pants on. It's a leather armor, basically leather pants and like high heels. And she has like a leather like domino mask, and they all kind of come around the corner and like stare. They like almost like pose and stare at you intimidatingly. And the leader, the guy that was smoking the cigarette, the one you're talking to, Ryan, now that he has his coterie assembled, he looks at you and he says, "Now, where were we? Who are you? What are you doing in my hallway?"
Well, my name is Rin Stillwater, and these are my friends here behind me, just as you have your...
You could say that we're your coterie.
my... No, I'm not gonna. And I say, the mess that you're clearing up in that other room, we made that mess, and so have freed up the space for your use. We just need to get back up to the surface.
So you are the ones responsible for killing all of these goblins and bugbears, these terrible creatures.
Very much so.
Well, on behalf of my clan, I thank you. And he like does this like deep bow.
I mirror his like less deep, you know what I mean? Like,
and he says, we had wondered who was responsible for killing those creatures. They've been a thorn in our side for some time.
Well,
it was all me, naturally.
Shut up. A thorn no longer, it seems.
And he says, "I'm being rude. Let me introduce myself. I am Lord Bloodtalon. And this..."
Fucking course.
He gestures next to him. He says,
Bloodtalon.
He says,
yeah,
and
this is my...
let me finish.
Lucille McDeathface.
Yeah, so he gestures next to him and he says, "And this beautiful, terrible creature," and he gestures to the woman, "is my wife, Lady Shadowvane." And she kind of like fans herself and like looks at you. And he says, "And behind me, my enforcers, Carla the Bleak." And Carla just like snarls at you. And this is Edward. And the guy in the vest like waves. "Hi." And he says,
"Why is Edward covered in glitter?"
Right. so Lord Bloodtalon looks up at you and he says, "The leaders of our clan, I know, would be excited to meet you. We are so rarely exposed to those who have such a clear disregard for life as we do. Will you come with us to our lair?"
Is there wine there?
And they all look at each other like, "Oh, this foolish mortal." And he says, "Oh yes, our lair has many delicacies. It has been
Yeah.
so long since we had friends for dinner. And the rest of them like giggle.
Yeah, that sounds
Here-
like you're gonna eat us.
Do you really think so, Jewel?
She's like side eyes.
Here's what I would suggest. My
So sorry.
people are a little tired. We were just headed back upstairs, but if you're clearing this place out to make your new area, however you want to
Hallway.
put it, your hallway, then perhaps we'll see you on the way back down. We do plan to be back.
He says, if you wish to travel these halls unimpeded, you will need the permission of our antediluvian overlord.
Uh-huh.
Without that, I cannot promise you safety in these halls.
You're so lucky I only got 4 health left.
It's the only reason I'm indulging this as well, Dave.
Yeah, you think I would have popped these guys on you when you had full health? I don't think so.
All right. Well, then let's have a conversation, shall we? Me and your leader.
And yeah, and he nods and he says, "Good, yes, come with us." And you
Do we have to?
you head off into the dungeon.
I'm gonna go with him at the very least because
Because I don't
we
really
have to
have
fight
food.
vampires every time we come up and down this fucking hallway. It's gonna kill my ass.
We'll get a pain in the butt, yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna move all of you because it's a little ways away.
Okay. Yeah, all right.
Let me put you back here.
Yeah,
So you find
let's have a 6-hour talk and then we can discuss our deal for about 8 hours in a tiny hut.
So you find yourselves back over here in the room in which all of the pillars were,
Mhm.
and they are leading you north from here up
Okay.
this way. And so
I
they
have a quick question.
Yes.
Somewhere along the path when we're walking with them, can I have Eyes of the Graved? I can just open my awareness to magically detect
yes,
undead.
yeah, there are no undead within 60 feet of you.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Good.
Yeah.
Great.
So you follow these vampires, and everything that they do is like kind of over the top and theatrical. Like they don't walk, they glide, and like there's a lot of very like they're making sure you're watching them as they like come around the corner. And so yeah, they lead you up to this intersection where you haven't been before. And on the wall, etched in the stone, there is a symbol, and the symbol looks like a cross, but instead of the bit at the top, it's like a circle or like an oval. Yeah, you
So
see
what you're
it.
telling us is an Ankh,
It's-
right?
I mean, you wouldn't have context for it as such, but you see that etched into the wall up here, and they make sure that you see it as they approach. And and so the four of them they come up here, and then they say at this hallway they gesture down this way.
I
And
think
they-
Macaria was kind of like excitedly following, and then as soon as she thinks to like open her awareness and finds out they're not actually undead, she's just like, oh, and
Yeah.
then just like less excited.
So you stop, and Lord Bloodtalon, he says to you, everything north of this intersection belongs to us, to our people, the children of the night.
What about
You-
that shadowy place over there?
And he gestures, yes, the shadowy place over there as well. And that direction, and
Even
everything
that.
north of this, it all belongs to us. And soon, and he like tenses his little manicured fingers, soon all of level 1 will be ours. You are our guests and must respect our rules. Be polite. You are in the presence of royalty. Now come. And he like, whoosh,
Like Macaria's rolling her eyes or whatever. Like over there, I can see you, Blue Jay.
Yeah, she's
And
definitely doing the same.
and like I feel like Rin is well comfortable with pretending a bunch of stuff is real. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, I'll be polite, sure. that gets us like passage through this area, and we have to deal with LARPing vampires through the.
It's so funny because Makaria is like very wise only because like I need to be wise for powers and stuff, but I don't think that she's not very smart. So the fact that she has like 8 hit points and is going into someone else's territory does not mean she's going to be nice to them.
So they head out this way. 2 of them kind of hang back. I think it's probably Carla and Edward. They hang out
I loved
back here.
Edward the most.
I'll just keep following Lord Bloodtalon over here.
Okay, all right. So he approaches the door and he puts a hand on the door. That's right. Don't go to a second location. So he puts his hand on the door and he says to you, "I have to warn you. What you may see beyond will shake you to your very core. You may see things, terrible things, beautiful things here in the lair of the creatures of the night. Steel yourself."
I will
Is
do my best
Copper
to
Copper's
remain
still with us, yeah?
unflapped.
Yeah, Copper is tagging along, and he's just
Okay,
like,
I just wanted to make sure.
"Who are these nerds? What are we doing?"
Okay.
And so he looks at you, Rin, and he says, "Are you prepared?"
Oh yes, very much so.
And he says, "Then welcome to our kingdom of darkness." And he like opens the door, and within, as you pass through the doorway, yeah, there you go. I will describe this room. It is full of languidly hanging about vampire types. So let's see here. Floor 1. Let's see.
I can't believe there's this many vampire LARPers just hanging out on this floor.
So
There's at least one real vampire in here somewhere.
So, this room is full of vampires. They're lounging amidst 3 6-foot-tall statues, right in the middle of the room. The statues all depict male Waterdevian nobles clad in plate armor, but they have been draped with dark fabric, like in between them. The bases of them have been covered in candles, and there are like pillows just like scattered about the room, like lots of like velvet, and everything in here is like either wine color or like dark purple or black, and it's all kind of like made up to look like a lounge. It's like a goth club, the back room of a goth club.
I've been in this room in real life. Vampire LARPing. I have done it. I have been these vampire LARPers.
Elf is like, "I know the room of which you speak, and I have a Polaroid to show to you."
I've
So-
been there.
So you see gathered amongst this many people who are dressed, again, like many of them dressed as like nobility, in that kind of like Victorian, though obviously not actually Victorian, like style. You see some kind of lurking at the back wearing like hooded robes. One of them is dressed just like a priest of Merkel. So
Wait,
you see,
really?
Yep, you see a guy wearing a long gray like monk's robe with a gray hood and like a mask that is shaped like a skull. He's just that picture from Faiths and Pantheons or whatever, right? That like
He's that one like picture.
yeah. And he's,
Armor.
he's got black gloves with like bones painted on them, and he's just like lurking all by himself over here,
Where
hiding
is he?
next to the statue. He's this guy.
Oh yeah.
And then as you come in, you see one of them approach. He kind of detaches himself from the rest and starts coming over. This guy.
Yeah, I was about to say, I know it's not like this because of your description, but I can't help but think this guy is actually dressed like a pirate and he got the wrong costume.
No, but he is dressed like he's a scary vampire, right? Like he is kind of dressed not necessarily like a pirate, but like a raider, right? Like he has this blood red like headband
he's
on.
like Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah, he's got this blood red headband on. He has like a long black beard. He has like scars on his face. But he's still like kind of ashy and pale. His eyes are red. He has fangs. But yeah, he is affecting a different kind of vampire than the rest of them. And he approaches and he says to Lord Lord Bloodtalon, he says, "Who are they?" And Lord Bloodtalon says, "If it please you, my prince, some new friends we found in the dungeon." And he scowls and he said, "These are the ones that cleared out our enemies in the south." And he says, "Ah, good." And he looks at the group of you, and he says,
You know they're gonna be a badass when they go. Ugh.
"Yeah, he's an anime protagonist."
Yeah.
He looks at you and he says, "Dot dot dot," and he says, "Good." So no, you have something to say? You interrupt?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I have a glance and see like a cleric. Well, looks like a priest of Merkel, like in the back, and I like look.
Split off from the group of.
No, I look at Rin and I'm like, yes, it was as a favor. I had heard of this. I am also a priest of Merkel, and I like head nod over to other guys.
There.
I'm looking at you like, why are you fucking this up right
Yeah.
now?
So
What are
when you look at
What?
him, the other guy like looks startled and he puts his hand in front of his face and he walks backward into the shadows. And he just like disappears over here, like and like runs and hides.
That doesn't work like that.
So he's hiding in the corner now.
He casts darkness.
Yeah, exactly. And so the lead vampire, he says, he walks up, and he says, "Well, you've already met my children. I am Uktarl. This is my clan, and we run level 1.
Uktarl, a pleasure. My name is Rin Stillwater.
Yeah, and he looks over at you, and he says, "We've been keeping an eye on you since you entered our domain."
Really? Lord Bloodtalon here seemed not to know who we were until introduced.
And he scowls. He says, "I don't share everything with my underlings." And Lord Bloodtalon is like giving him this like, "Oh, yes, my lord, yes." Yeah. And he turns back and he says, "You were allowed to live because of your inadvertent service to us. We've been tangling with those Inhumans, the Xanathar's Guild, for some time. And now that they're dead, we can expand. I suppose we owe you thanks."
Speaking of thanks, we were hoping, if you control this level like you say you do, that we would be able to pass back and forth unimpeded through this territory.
Make a persuade check.
Alrighty then. Let's hope I don't get in.
Does mine Merkelness
inordinate-
give her advantage?
No.
Damn.
17.
Okay. All right. He says, "You and your friends are strong. You could make a great asset to the clan. Perhaps you could join us here in the darkness."
Perhaps.
He says, "For now, you are our guests. Come, enjoy." And he gestures. You look around. There's these people looking around, like lazing around wanly. And he says, "You are safe to rest here. You will not be interfered with."
Well, that solves our problem, doesn't it? I
Is
say
there
with a
wine?
Or, like,
Yeah, and
at least
Jewel,
14
one of
hours.
them, you see one of them, like eyeballing you hungrily, and then when Uktarl says like you will not be interfered with, he's like, "Ugh." Like, damn it, I wanted to eat the cat.
Does this.
Yeah.
Is there?
Bruce looks at them with that look that a cat gives you,
Mhm.
and then he yawns. But
Yeah.
like cat yawn, so it's like kind of threatening.
Oh yeah, you have actual pointed teeth,
Yeah, just like
as opposed to fake ones that you just put on. Is there wine?
And Uktarl says, "Unfortunately for you, we dine on other sorts of things." And he
You
like
mean
gives you the
what?
wide eyes.
You drink blood.
And he,
No, they
when you say that, they like look at each other like, oh, you're not supposed to say it. And he says,
Be very
Lord
aware.
Bloodtalon steps in, and he says, what my honored prince means to say is that we sup upon the dark vitae of life.
Your name is Blood Talon. It's your name. It's your literal name.
And he
Blood
nods,
Talon.
and he says, we sup upon that glorious ruby liqueur that seeps from the veins of the living.
Great.
And
oh my god.
Uktarl says to Bloodtalon, he says, our guests are in your hands. I have business to attend to.
Can I again
So here's what happens. He leaves, and then you have a chance to kind of hang out, if you want, as Uktarl.
I just want to see if I can sense if at least that guy is undead or if
How often can you use your
once
equal to your
per
wisdom modifier? If you'd like to use it again.
Yeah.
None of them are vampires.
Okay. I just I didn't know if one of them was a vampire, you know.
No, none
Okay.
none of them are.
None of them.
No.
So I'm maybe, and then I do the thing, and I'm just ugh. And they don't even have wine.
If no one bothers her, Jules just gonna explore.
Yeah, you can still look around. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
I
So
kind of wanted to talk more to.
yeah, you can. I mean, if you can follow him, right? Or you can tell him I want to talk to him or whatever, because he just doesn't have time to entertain you.
I'm
So
I'm gonna go pin down Mr.
let me.
McCoy.
Okay, we'll do each thing at a time. So let me talk to Jewel first. So Jewel, each of these statues in the room are 6 feet tall. There is a name carved into the base of each one, and at the base of the central statue, seemingly untouched, is a pile of bones and a white wooden staff broken in half. And that's lying at the base of this statue. The statues have three names carved into them. I'll read them and then I'll put them in chat. The base of each statue says Elendrown, Rathendar, and Unthalas. So those are etched into the statue's base. However, they've been crossed out, and instead written over them in Goblin is several other words that I guess none of you can read, but they've been defaced by goblins. Yeah, so Elendrown, Rathendar, and Unthalas on each of the statues, and they're statues of nobles of some kind in decorative plate armor. There's another hallway that leads out over here, and there's some stairs that go up that way. Do you want to know any particular thing, Jewel? Is there anything you're looking for?
No, she's just gonna fill in as much as possible. So she'll probably go hallway, and then she's just gonna keep wandering until something stops her.
Okay, let me see if anybody would stop you from going this way. Okay, so as you try to go this way, one of the vampires steps in the way. This one is swathed in black clothes. So it has he has a head wrap, and his face is masked. You can see his red eyes underneath his pale skin, but yeah, the rest of his body is all wrapped in complicated, kind of gauzy, dark cloth. And as you step up, he steps in the way, and you can see he's got a curved dagger on his belt. And he says, you cannot go beyond here.
Why not?
It is our haven, the
does
safe
that
place
mean?
where we rest.
Well, I'm tired.
He shakes his head and he laughs. He's like, this is no place for the living, girl.
I don't think I'm the only one that's alive here.
He scowls at you. He's like, don't smell me. And takes a step back.
I can sense a pulse.
And he says, it serves us to adopt the trappings of the living so as to fool our enemies and maintain a masquerade.
Right. So if I'm not allowed in there, where am I allowed?
He says, you are our guest. Please. And he gestures, enjoy the amenities of our company. Relax. Rest. You look weary. And he gives you these wide, kind of I'm trying to hypnotize you eyes.
She rolls her eyes so hard you can probably hear it.
right? They just roll around in your
And
head.
it just like slinks away. And her next plan is to like backtrack around a corner somewhere and stealth.
Right. So wait until he
Yeah.
goes back.
There's like curtains and stuff everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah. She's gonna like back up, and when no one's looking, just like disappear behind
totally.
some curtains.
Okay, yeah, make a stealth check.
She's good. We're gonna try.
Let's see what the
27.
All right, nobody is like actively like watching you, so yeah, so you can skulk away and head that way. All right, so we'll catch up with you in a second as you head that direction. Feel free to explore the rest of that hallway. You'll find out there's only so much of it before we got to come back. But while that's happening, 8, what are you doing? You and Copper are kind of like standing at the back of the goth club being like, can we? I really don't feel comfortable here.
Yeah, like I wait until one of them accidentally looks towards us, and I think strike up a conversation. I was thinking about this. So, do you kill humans often?
So she, the one that you're talking to, she has kind of like a like almost like a feral effect to her. So she has like bigger fangs than everybody else, and kind of like has a hunched back. Her hair is all wild and like tangled behind her, and she's wearing like ratty, kind of like almost like druid robes. She's in bare feet, and she has a necklace of bones around her neck.
This is my favorite vampire.
I bet she's trying to pretend to be a tabaxi.
And yeah, and she looks up at you and she nods and she says, yeah, yes, I've killed many of mortal prey, hunted them in the night through the streets of Waterdeep. They think their cities will protect them, but it won't. I find them in their alleys. The rats whisper to me, and I kill them and drink their blood. It's delicious. And she like hisses at Copper, and he's just like, "Whoa, I didn't." Okay, lady, just whatever you say.
No, it's not. Blood tastes like actually pretty disgusting. We went through a phase back with the Lord of Blades where we all had mouths, and we did it to scare the humans, and it was honestly farcical. It doesn't taste nice. It's no nutritional value from it.
She shakes her head and she says, "You don't understand, mechanical man. The vitae sustains us, gives us our powers."
Oh, can you do any cool vampire tricks?
She says to you, "I cannot. The revealing of the power of darkness is forbidden. It is our first command."
One might even say tradition.
Get out of here. You're not there.
So, what's your favorite part about killing? Like, what's the best bit?
To see their puny life fade before their eyes. To watch the mortal prey slip away to the afterlife. And to gorge myself on their fluids. It is wonderful.
You've never seen someone die, have you? You've just never.
No, I have. I have killed many weak mortal cattle in my long years of life. You can make I mean, I don't think you have to make this check, but if you'd like to be confirmed, you know, like. And she, yeah, obviously she's lying to you. But yeah, she's like, I have slaked my undying thirst on hundreds of mortal lives. The beast cannot be contained within me. I feel its whispers. And then she howls. I'm not going to do it because I can't do like a wolf howl. She howls at the top of her lungs, like, and a few of the others like give also their own noises from their like pillow beds where they're lounging.
So you're like into the disgusting parts where they void their bowels. It smells terrible.
She says, you wouldn't understand. A life in darkness, it dulls the senses. Only the blood is true. And she keeps looking at Copper, and Copper's like slowly sidling away from you, like trying to find somewhere. If he had a beer, he would just be like drinking it, looking at his phone, like, please don't look at me. I don't want to be here. I'm just here with my weird goth friends.
I just put my hand on his shoulder. It's like, I don't think any of these people have ever even had much worse than a paper cut. You're fine.
They're nothing to be afraid of, Donnie. They're nihilists. So yeah, Copper just nods nervously, like I don't want to be here.
That's fine. I'm just messing with them. I don't have much to do here.
You're like, I just wanted to get my chance to fuck with them. That's fine.
But the Merfolite.
Okay, so Makaria, we'll check in with you, and then yeah, Rin, if you want to go and like have a meeting with their guy.
Oh, they're super
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so Makaria, you see standing in the back corner, like basically pressed into the corner, just like looking at the floor. You see this guy in a skull mask, and he's just standing there, hoping you won't notice him.
Obfuscate! Obfuscate!
Yeah, right.
You know you're not invisible, right?
And he definitely has his hand in front of his face, and he like looks up.
I can totally still see you.
Yeah, he looks up and he's like, "Oh, you must have significant willpower if you can see through my magic."
Oh my god!
So, do you actually worship the Lord of Bones, or
And he
are you
nods.
another?
He nods and he says, What? You don't know about the mighty Lord of Bones? Oh, praise him! Praise him on his throne of skulls." And he comes over to you and he's like, "So, you're also a fan of Merkel? Tell me, what are Merkel's other titles, if you know of him so well?"
You
Oh my
disappoint
god, the
me.
gatekeeper.
Just kill him.
Are
Have
you
you
a
ever
real
actually
Merkel
even
fan?
died before?
He says, "In fact, yes, twice. Once when I joined the coterie of darkness and became one of the children of the night.
You know that
And then once again before that, I fell down some stairs. And Merkel brought me back to life. It was not yet my time to join him in his demonic army."
you know that Merkel's not a god of vampires, right?
Merkel holds domain over all of the dead, of which we are one.
You look real dead. You know, actually, I have a direct line to Merkel. And she takes out her like augury kit. Like,
Uh-huh.
I'm fairly certain that your puny experiences with death pale in comparison to mine. Would you like to ask him a question? He answers every time.
And he looks down at the the bones, because that's your kit, right?
Yeah, it's like bone dice basically.
Okay. He looks down at them and he scoffs and he says, "Huh, pff, nice augury kit. Those aren't even authentic. Where did you get those? The goblin market?" Ha 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 ha.
No, I removed fingers from people, and then I skinned them and cleaned the tendons from them and aged them and carved runes into them, as you do.
Make an intimidate check.
Can I have advantage?
No.
Because I'm goddamn.
No, you can't.
See, the problem with trying to intimidate
I got a 4.
is they might also think you're LARPing.
So he laughs and he says, "Ha, yeah, right. Those are obviously counterfeit. You can tell. Any true Merkelite would know that just by looking at them. You got had, lady."
Any true Merkelite.
He nods.
Rin, if you don't hold me back, I'm going to kill him.
Rin's not even in the room.
Yeah, I'm not even there.
You're not there?
No, Rin has followed
went with-
the.
I
And
went
Jules
with-
also not there?
I went with Captain Pirate. What's his name?
And the only person is like very far across the room, 8.
Yes, yeah, 8 and copper. across the room.
please restrain yourself.
I have like no spells.
Yeah, none of you have any good health.
Ugh.
I think
And
I
so
have
he
the
sees you getting upset, and he says, he's like, "Oh, listen, don't worry about it. I know there's a lot of misinformation about there, but a true Merkelite knows how to see through it. I could teach you if you want."
I rip the skull mask off his face
Hey, my mask!
and I throw it on the ground and I step on it.
Okay, all right. So you reach up, you yank his mask off, you throw it on the ground, you stomp on it, and he's like, "Hey, oh, my mask! Why'd Why'd you do that? I spent 14 silver on that mask.
You know nothing about the Lord of Bones and
Oh,
wearing
yeah?
his.
I've seen the bone throne with my own 2 eyes. It's just right up there.
What?
And he nods and he says, yeah, I bet you didn't know that. That's right. The throne of bones' earthly manifestation is just in the other room.
Really?
I've seen it myself.
Macarius like, what?
Didn't you know the last known whereabouts of the crown is down here in Undermountain?
Skullport, yes.
And he nods. And he's like, yeah. So when they told me about that, I came down to check it out, and I ran into these guys. And they've all been so cool to me. And then they showed me just around the corner, up there. It's
Show me.
right. And he looks at you, and he's like, you want to see it?
Yes.
Just you and me?
Yes.
And he nods. He's like, oh, okay. So the 2 of you head off to go and take a look at the bone throne together.
This is gonna be horrible.
So meanwhile, while that's happening, I actually think that Uktarl would have gone the other way. He's got like a room. And if
Feel free
you,
to just like direct. I would follow him when he left.
yeah,
so-
I'll move you with him. So he wouldn't have gone north. He would have gone where Jewel went. So Jewel, you could actually be like eavesdropping on this conversation if you want to. But one of these, I just gotta figure out which one it is.
All we see of Jewel is just her tail like twitching underneath the curtains.
Yeah, you're invisible as heck. Okay, so let me move you, Rin. So you follow him into this hallway, and then through this door, and into a smaller kind of like airlock style like antechamber, and then through another door, and into Uktarl's personal, his little personal quarters. So this room, let me describe it to you. So Uktarl's room, the entire northern wall is an ancient stone fresco depicting rugged mountains hollowed out with caverns containing tiny sculpted figures of dwarves. So it's like a diorama, basically, of these little stone, like, it's his Warhammer figure collection. You're like looking at like a 20,000 point dwarf army. But it looks like it all predates these guys. Like it's the fresco is, yeah, ancient. There is a, beneath the fresco, carved into the floor is a large recessed stone tub. What else is in here?
That's where he keeps the extras for his dwarf army that he doesn't want to show off. On the stone.
There's a wooden table. There is inside the tub. There is a bedroll and a pack. So he looks like he sleeps in the tub. And yeah, there's a wooden table with there's cards on top of it and a stack of coins and some chairs around the table as you come in.
Okay.
And so, what did you say to prompt this? Were you just like, I need to talk to you?
Yeah, like I'd like to talk to who's in charge rather than,
Yeah.
like
All right. So
the rabble.
you follow him in, and he closes the door, and the 2 of you are you're in this room together. And he turns and he says, "Well."
Well, you are the one who could make the appropriate decisions about our movements down here, it seems. So I was hoping to have that conversation with you so that we could be done with it rather than extending our stay indefinitely.
Everyone that comes down here pays us a toll sooner or later. You went south instead of north, and my children didn't have a chance to follow you.
No, but you did say you've been watching us, and so you know the kind of thing that we can do. All of these goblins just gone. Which you said already helps you out. I can't think of a better toll than that.
Fine. You killed the goblins. You paid for your first trip.
Well, I mean, how much is a goblin life worth, really? How many of them did we kill? How much space have we created for you?
And
That's more than one trip, surely.
he says it's not going to be that easy. The
No?
Xanathar's guild is just going to send more up from below.
If they're coming from the goblin market, that may be difficult.
He gives you a look like, I don't know what the goblin market is.
Oh.
But he says, they come up from Skullport, place is crawling with them.
Yeah, I've heard that.
What about you and your friends? You plan on continuing down below?
That is the plan. Though, if we can't get through this first level, then going back up and down is going to become a chore.
You can see something occur to him. And he says, you know, I might have use of you and your friends. If you can help me and my children out, then maybe I could see fit to letting you move around our level without having to pay the toll.
And how would I do that?
We are not the only of our kind down here. To the north, you'll find Haria and her children. There was a schism. They didn't agree with the traditions that run this clan, and they decided to make their own. She's arrogant. She talks a big game, and the rest of them followed. Go and convince her of the error of her ways.
You'd like us to convince your former friends, I assume. that they
He
should-
shakes his head and he says, No, not friends. Never friends. Not in the darkness. But we are of one blood. She betrayed me and mine. Go and convince her to come back, or kill them for all I care. It's what she deserves.
That is the piece of information that I needed.
Yeah, he shakes his head and he says, sometimes those who are given the gift of blood, they don't deserve it anymore.
So north of here, then.
He nods. And if you do that for me, well, then you can come and go as you please. I promise you, you and your friends will go untouched by mine. I'll keep them away from you and you don't have to pay the toll. But only if you can prove to me that you've blessed Haria with a final death.
Well, that shouldn't be too difficult. You can almost see that she's trying to think of, like, if this is, like, technically we're in Undermountain, even though it's the first level, but, like, is this super illegal? If I just, like, because they're all just people, and it's pretty obvious.
Anything goes in Undermountain.
Yeah. So she thinks a moment and then goes, shouldn't be too difficult. I think we can get that done. Nice to negotiate so easily with someone so reasonable.
He smiles, he bares his fangs. He says, yes, reasonable.
Do you not agree?
He seems lost in thought, like he's hearing the whispers you can't hear.
You are still here, yes?
And he like hisses at you, like he's surprised that you're still in the room. He's like, the call of the beast. I have to feed. Get out. And he points at the door.
Well, I don't.
Get
I'm
out!
like,
And he like points and like yells at you, like, ah, get out of here!
I'm looking around, there are no other people in here, so I don't know where he's going to quote unquote feed from. He's sending me out.
Yeah. No, and he's like the impression you get here, like when he shouts at you, it's like Beast yelling at Belle, like, get out of here for your own good, like I'm a monster. I can't control myself.
Can I make like a investigation check or?
I mean,
like,
what do you want to
perception
know?
check or something? I want to know, like, he just said he had to feed. Does he got like a burger?
There
stash?
might be like a secret way out. Like there's tunnels
all
and
right,
stuff.
fine.
Yeah, you don't know.
You've got like a velvet cloth draped over a mini fridge in the corner.
Yeah.
I leave.
Okay. All right. So while you're in there talking, let's get back to Jewel. Jewel, what are you doing? Did you want to try to, you know what's up in this room. Did you want to try to sneak through this other one over here?
Yeah. I didn't actually get to see the room because the door was never.
Yeah, the doors are shut, but you know, like now
I
you know
heard-
that
I heard the whole
it's
conversation.
Uktarl's room. You probably heard the louder parts of the conversation, but you can explore otherwise.
Yeah, she'll go over to the other door.
Haha, you're trapped in the room, Rin. Here,
Yeah.
I'll put you back.
And like she'll listen up against it real fast just to make sure if there's anyone, if she can hear if anyone's in there.
Okay.
Do you want me to roll a perception?
Yes, please.
24.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you don't hear anything on the other side.
Right. She tries the door. If it's locked, she'll pick it.
It is not locked. You can open it slightly. Okay. So in this room beyond, you see 8 bedrolls spread out on the floor. There are 2 battered and rusty oil lanterns sitting on the floor that light the chamber. And I think there's probably one vampire here, sleeping. He's lying on top of the bedroll. He is, actually reasonably tan. And he's not lying in vampire pose. He's laying like splayed out, and he's just wearing like a pair of like white underpants with little hearts on them, and he's just lying there on his face, just snoring. There's another door over here.
She goes up to the other door. She just like quietly walks across the room. Pink Panther style.
Okay. Yep.
Is it locked?
It is not locked. No.
Opens the door.
Okay, let's see. I want to see if there's anything. Okay, all right. So you open the door. This door, I think it like creaks a little bit. Like it hasn't been opened in a while. The one on the floor mumbles something. He's like, rolls over, and there's a little hallway that extends out there. And I will let you go and explore the extent of it, but eventually it just comes to a dead end.
Okay.
Yeah.
She skitters away.
Nice. Okay, so you explore that area. Okay. All right. So, meanwhile, Makaria, you and your vampire friend,
Not friends.
you're gonna go and check out the bone throne.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'll move you up there.
Okay.
You are you head up these stairs,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go west, and then north. And then you find yourself at the end of a hallway where there's a door, and your friend, let's see here.
Not my friend.
He's your friend. He says to you, he says, beyond this door is a mighty throne of bones, upon which only those who are sworn to Merkel, Dark Lord of Darkness, may sit, and none here are worthy. And he
Not
points,
even you.
He points at you, and he shakes his head. He says, "No, they're
And
not
what
even
happened?
me."
And how did you discover that no one was allowed to sit in the chair?
And he squints, and he says, well, just everybody knows that.
You never tried it.
It's like, well, no, because they said it's for Merkel only. That it is part of the clan's traditions. You shall not sit upon the throne.
You said it was for Merkelites before.
He nods and he
Aren't
says,
you pledged to your god?
whether or not my brothers and sisters in darkness know it, in their hearts they too serve Merkel.
Well, we'll see. Open it.
And he puts his hand on it and he says, steel yourself, mortal, for you are about to see things no mortal eyes should rest upon. And he begins opening the door. So as promised, the room beyond does indeed contain a mighty throne of bones. You step out onto a dais of stone, and in front of you, rising into vision, you see indeed a throne made out of bones. There is the room itself is a 70-foot high vaulted room. It's an audience chamber of some form. The floor is black marble, marbled through with gold. There is a high-backed throne made of interwoven bleached bones. Each of the bones' armrest is carved to resemble
God damn
a
it,
serpent.
Dave put a joke in chat that the podcast needs to hear.
Yeah, all
Dave.
right. Dave, would you like Dave's killed by his? Dave, you're killed by your own joke.
Dave.
Can you muster yourself enough? Can they do it?
Okay. Deus nuts.
Perfect. Good. What else is
feel
on
like
the
you gotta
dais?
give the whole question preface.
I don't think anyone needs that part.
It's fine.
I just wanted Dave to have to say it out loud.
Thank you. Good. So there's that. Also, there is on the floor the bones, skull, rotted leather wing flaps, and stinger of a wyvern,
What?
intermingled with shards of clear crystal.
What?
And so he's not looking at the throne. Your Mercolite friend is looking at you, checking your reaction to the throne. What do we see on Makaria's face?
I feel like she's like very much like got her nose kind of in the air, like I'm too fancy for your fake Mercolite bullshit. But like she also, I mean, it is in Undermountain and it is a throne made of bones, and he just said I wasn't allowed to sit on it. So I think that she like goes up to like closer inspect it, and just be like, I've seen the bone throne before in my unconscious mind. Totally. Does this look like?
You've never actually seen Merkel's throne of bones. You don't know what it looks like. This
You
is
said
a
that I
throne.
did.
It's a throne made of bones.
So you said that no one but a true Mercolite may sit upon the throne. Is
Yeah,
that-
and I think you're close to it, and he's like, "Oh, don't touch it. It's still in such good condition."
Makaria like puts one hand out to touch the like arm part,
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, wait, what are you doing? Don't touch it."
and then she like strokes it.
Okay. Yeah, it's cold.
Ooh.
Yeah, and he's just like, "Oh no, the resale value."
It's cold?
Yeah.
And he's just still looking at me like he's not doing anything to stop me.
I mean, he's trying really hard to like convince you not to touch it anymore.
Could it be that the
This is-
LARPers have stumbled across something more than LARP?
I wanna like
So
can I like
I think when you start that, he's like, we can't we can't be here anymore. We gotta go. Hari is gonna hear us.
Sit.
And so he's like, he grabs your wrist and is like, come
no,
on.
no. I push him and then I sit down in the chair.
Okay, he falls down and you go to sit in the chair. All right, so we'll obviously cut away. So we see Makaria be like, haha, the chair, and you go to jump into it, and as you do, we fade out. We're gonna take our second break here, and when we get back, we'll find out what happens to Makaria and her brave, foolish butt.
Wow, that section went so quickly.
Right? Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.